Hello, hello, it's Mary. This is my day 4 COP28 recap. I had a slightly more chill day today after the chaos that was yesterday, but that doesn't mean that nothing happened. Lots did. I started the day off with a really great group discussion hosted by the UN's Youth Climate Champion, that's the word. It was about mental health and climate change, kind of how these two things intersect, how climate change has and continues to affect young people's mental health, not just in things like eco-anxiety, but for example, in places that are prone to flooding, climate change is causing more and more floods, more and more natural disasters. Young people that are in these situations are much more likely to have intense PTSD, depression, anxiety, all that sort of thing. Talked a lot about kind of intersectional identities and how they're more greatly at risk of bad mental health. And different interventions and things that can be done. Really interesting seeing that from a student union perspective, because a lot of what was said about kind of interventions and how we can help mitigate the risks of bad mental health is about community building, about allowing and catalyzing groups of people to form communities, build networks, and I just see a lot of that in the stuff we do at the SU, so it was really, really exciting. Some other various talks happened. Today was the health day. It was the first ever health themed day that COP's ever had. So a lot of stuff to do with kind of physical health, how we can decarbonize health infrastructure. But to wrap up the kind of my little wrap up, I do want to comment on something that the COP president did today. If you haven't seen it in the news, the COP president was in a live streamed event today where he basically said there's no science supporting the fact that if we phase out of fossil fuels, that will lead to sustainable development, and that will lead to us limiting climate change and global warming to 1.5 degrees. He said there's no science behind that. I was having a really good day. It's just really frustrating, I think, being at COP and being one person of 70,000 and going to so many incredible talks and discussions with really inspiring people, researchers, academics, young activists, NGOs, leaders of charities, so many people who are doing incredible work in the climate change space, who are going across the world helping communities that are most vulnerable and most at risk. And then for the leadership of this conference to not listen to the 70,000 people that have come here to tell him that if we phase out of fossil fuels, that will lead to sustainable development. And in fact, that is one of the things that needs to happen for us to be able to limit global warming. For him to look at the 70,000 people and disregard us, it's very frustrating. And it's reminded me a lot of some of the talks that I've already been to, some of the discussions and panels that have been led by, Indigenous community leaders, for example, who've been led by young leaders of charities, NGOs and whatnot, who all have been talking about the fact that it's so important that we listen, we really, really listen to the communities who are at risk, the communities who are undergoing the effects of climate change and feeling it right now, whose livelihoods are being disrupted. We listen to them and we implement what they think should be done, not only for their communities, but for the world. The fact that they're literally saying we need to listen to them, and the people in power, most in power, I should say, are just not. Yeah, it's been a weird, rough kind of afternoon, I think. But I'm trying not to lose hope. I keep remembering back to the mental health talk this morning. There was a incredible young activist who made a point about burnout and making sure you practice self-care and you look after yourself. Because as much as I am just one person in 70,000, everyone at COP is just one person in 70,000. And yeah, you need to look out for yourself if you're doing activism and work in this space, because it can feel like you're powerless, especially when the people in power are not listening. But the fact that there are 70,000 of us here means something. And I just need to hold on to that, I think. This update was meant to be short. It's 5 minutes long. Oh well. Thanks for listening.